Hey there, this is Jeff with the Institute of Innovation, and we're going over a sales principle today in regards to the building of trust. If you are new to the sales world, or if you haven't received any formal education on sales training, then this is going to be a new principle with you that can really enhance your success ratio when it comes to booking clients. If you have received sales education, then this is a great review. You might have seen this in one form or the other. For today's purposes, we're going to discuss the 3 C's of building trust during sales events and eventually to booking clients. So the first major pillar of trust building when it comes to selling events is a demonstration of character. What character is essentially a collection of what an individual does with their thoughts, their beliefs, and their values, and those ideas which influence the way they consistently conduct themselves throughout a customer's experience. And this can be right from the moment that you first call the customer, which might be a cold lead, throughout the estimating or quoting process, eventually to a book job and for the production as well. Again, those are the thoughts, the actions, and the habits that lead to how a customer perceives you. You want to demonstrate good character because as time goes on, as you show yourself who you consistently are, this really has a big impact on whether or not a client trusts you. Things that really demonstrate great character are items like showing up on time consistently, keeping up on thoughtful communication, reminder calls before events, follow-up calls to make sure everything was done properly, things such as that, making sure that you're transparent about items or ideas that you don't know much about, or any questions that the client has that you have no answer to. Making sure that you avoid overpromising and taking interest in the people that you're selling to. So developing great rapport and finding common interests. Maybe it's sports, maybe it's items on their house, or areas that you can really connect with are all great ways of demonstrating great character with your client. A couple of things to think about in regards to building character is, what do your thoughts and actions currently say? Are you consistently showing up late for events? Do you have a tendency to arrive 10 minutes late, 20 minutes late? Are you constantly calling to cancel events? Those will all leave an impression which will dramatically detract from your trust levels. People are 80% more likely to buy from someone they like. So what are the ways that you can demonstrate great character for the people that you're trying to sell to? The next area of the 3 C's of the trust triangle is developing great competence. And what competence is essentially 2 areas. Area number 1 is really knowing your industry and being someone who's a professional and a trusted advisor in whatever service you provide for your clients. And that might mean you've got a red seal in a trade, maybe you've been in business for a multiple number of years. Ultimately, showing competence is that, as well as how you present yourself as a regular, competent individual. So your posture and your expression has a huge impact. Your eye contact when you're selling, your tone, your clarity, and your enunciation when you talk to a client over the phone. Even the handshake can have a huge impact on whether or not a person perceives you as a competent individual. The tools you can use to demonstrate competence throughout a sales event are things like client manuals, surfaces that you've done before and after pictures. Maybe it's brochures on what you provide, demonstration videos that you can send in an email to the people that you're trying to sell to, past references of customers who have used you and have been impressed, or maybe going as far as taking a customer over to a job site that you're currently doing and showing them your process. All of these combined with those interpersonal skills can really go a long way to demonstrating competence. Essentially, you have to consider what sales tools you're currently using to really increase the level of competence you're demonstrating during your sales event. And finally, the final area for the trust triangle is understanding what common sense of purpose is. Common sense of purpose is arriving at the same outcome or destination for both sides of the people in the transaction. Now, it's a little broad. For this to occur, it's simply 1, you need to understand what is important to the customer. And this boils down to understanding the root need or the root why in the sales event. If you're a roofer, you already know that the client wants to have their housing reshingled. But why is it that it's important to have this done? One step further. Maybe they want their roof to match the outside look of their house. Maybe they just want the security of knowing that there isn't going to be a surprise leak this winter. You also have to be able to demonstrate that understanding and explain it back to them. What that might sound like is, Mrs. Jones, I know that you want me to come over and do your landscaping from July 6th to July 8th. And the reason why you want to have this done is you really want your yard to look great for the wedding that you've got planned later on in August. You really want to be proud of your yard. So that is a verbalization that you understand what the service is, but also why it's important to them as well. The second half to arrive at common sense of purpose is understanding why you're doing what you're doing. You've gotten into business for some reason or the other. Maybe it was you wanted to be in charge of your own team or make the community better. Maybe it's the desire to hit a certain financial goal and you're just really proud of the service you provide. You need to have that why up front to really explain to your customer why you're in business. And many people that we talk to on a regular basis don't actually articulate this very well to their clients. The reason why this is so important is because if people don't know where you're coming from, it's very easy to be suspicious when you offer them something that's a perfect fit for their needs. For example, if you were walking down the road one day and someone came up to you and said, "Here, I've got this $50 bill, you can have it," you would have so many questions for them. You'd be wondering, where did it come from? Did you steal it? Versus if someone came up to you and said, "Hey, I just recently came into a lot of money. I won the lottery and I'm trying to do some great things for random strangers. This is my one good deed for the day. Would you like this $50? All of a sudden, your understanding of where they're coming from increases your trust significantly that it's not counterfeit or a scam or it isn't just too good to be true. So to really establish common sense of purpose, what the whole script might sound like at the end of a sale, for you to understand what's important to them, to be able to explain it, what's important to you, and you're able to explain that as well, would sound a lot like this. Mrs. Jones, I know you want your landscaping done on July 6th to July 8th. I know you really want to be proud of your yard because you have this big wedding coming in August. I just want to let you know that I started this landscaping company because I'm really great at this, and this type of work, seeing it start and complete, makes me feel great. And I really want to make this community look good too. I definitely can help you out with this. That closing script amplifies trust, especially when you combine it with competence and the consistent character demonstrations that we discussed earlier. When you have this all put together, you really begin to paint a clear picture of what your trade will look like, or what your service will look like for the customer. Once you can do that, every sale that is logistically possible to close is much more likely to book. That's how you can increase your sales by 10, 15, 20% closing. Ultimately, it's the demonstration of competence, consistent character demonstrations throughout your entire service, making sure they understand where you're coming from, you understand where you're coming from, and you know exactly where the job is going. This is a review of the 3 C's of building trust. Again, they're common sense of purpose, competence, and character. We hope that this was a good quick video review and that you've got 1 or 2 great takeaways from this video. This is Jeff with the Institute of Innovation. Have yourself a fantastic day.